Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. It's time to read my Thursday email, and today it's really all about my grandmother. So here goes. The magic of Christmas Eve. I thought I would take you down memory lane a bit and share why this year, more than any other, I'm keeping my traditions. Here's the story of Edna McCullum Hageman, my hero, my muse, and the one who taught me the magic of Christmas. I grew up in a lower middle class family. We had a roof over our head, clothes on our back, and food in our bellies. But beyond that, any extras were on me to provide for myself once I could earn a buck. And that began around age 10. Growing up, I wasn't lavished with tons of presents at Christmas. My parents typically got me clothes, some PJs, hat and mittens, the usual. I considered it round two of school clothes, even though they were all boxed up, bowed up, and tagged signed from Santa. It was still school clothes. Although once I hit my teens, that new pair of Levi's was awesome sauce. Considering I made 50 cents an hour babysitting and a new pair of Levi's was around $12 to $15, they were like gold. I'm not going to lie and say Christmas wasn't about the presents. It was, but Edna McCollum Hageman made it so much more. For me, the true magic happened on Christmas Eve. Edna, Grandma, was our matriarch. The world, in my eyes, revolved around her. She was a rebel, independent, cool, and the most loving person I've ever known. Canadian citizen, emigrating in her 20s, she retained her green card and never became a US citizen. More than one conversation was had around this little piece of grandma. She claimed she never had time when the kids were young, but later on in life, I think she just wanted to be her. She was fiercely independent. Married into a sea of Irish Catholics, she was 100% Scottish Congregationalist. She raised her kids Catholic, but went to her own church each Sunday. She knew the Bible inside and out, spoke enough French to get by in a conversation, and never wavered on her beliefs. Now that I look back, it was such a bold thing to do. Buck up against your husband's religion and do your own thing. To us, it was just grandma. Every Christmas Eve, I would tag along with Grandma to her church service. It was my favorite part of the holiday. Her church was far less structured than our Catholic church. It was warm and welcoming. We would sing carols, the bell choir would play, everyone would all be dolled up, and without fail, Grandma would cry during Oh Holy Night. That song was such a big part of Grandma that a dear friend of the family sang it at her funeral. We all sobbed like babies while smiling at the same time. Christmas was Grandma's thing. She made us believe in the magic of it all. After the glory of Grandma's church service, we would head back to our house where my mother would have a spread of food and we were allowed to open one present. Typically, it was the clothes that we would then wear to midnight mass at St. Thomas. Yes, round two of church services. My mom wouldn't go. It was typically my dad and my aunts, and we would sit in the family pew, second from the back on the right. And to this day, when I go to that church, I sit there. Tradition. Christmas morning was classic. Santa Claus came in the middle of the night, dropped off the gifts, and like most kids, we were forced to open them one at a time. My mother would have cranberry bread and some cookies for us to munch on while we awaited our turn. Sitting at the kitchen table with her coffee and cigarette in hand, she would rule the process like a drill sergeant. My dad, never one for holiday fanfare, would just sit on the couch and bag up the wrapping paper to toss in the wood stove. I was always itching for this part to be over so I could run down the hill to Grandma's house. Christmas dinner, more presents, and family stories awaited. Grandma was a hoot. Half the time she wouldn't even decorate her tree until Christmas Eve, and she didn't care if a bulb broke, if the tinsel was perfect, or if the kids helped. Unlike my mother, who was overprotective of the decorating process, it had to be perfect. I have flashbacks of those damn silver icicles. She put them on one at a time, and we were never allowed to help. Graham just gave us a box of 50-year-old ornaments and said, have at it. If they broke, they were just glass, not a leg or an arm, just stuff. My favorite Christmas present from Grandma was in 1983, the year I turned 21. My mother never won for sentimental stuff, unless it pertained to Elvis Presley. Never wanted to save any of our artwork that we made in school. Grandma, on the other hand, loved it. She would hang it up, frame it, and keep every little thing I gave her. In fact, some of those items still sit on shelves in Grandma's house to this day. My aunts who live there have carried on the tradition. They really haven't moved in 100 years. In 1983, Grandma gave me a box with all that artwork. To be honest, I'd forgotten she had it. Grandma knew I needed it, though. You see, my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer in 1980, my freshman year of college. Given just months to live, my mother somehow survived for another 5 years. But by 1983, the holidays were strained and stressful. Life was stressful, and Grandma knew I had a lot of guilt around my relationship with my mother, and she knew I needed a little love and some Christmas magic. I adored that woman. I still do. She taught me independence, how to embrace my individuality, and the magic of Christmas. So you see, that's why I'm keeping up my Christmas traditions, even though 2020 is different. Grandma's up there looking down and telling me, screw COVID, bake the cookies, share the spirit, and believe. So I'm all dressed up, as you can see. I have on my party dress. I'm off to listen to Oh Holy Night, cry some happy tears, and put on my Christmas dress, which I just did, because it makes me smile and know it will make Edna smile. She was always one for pretty dresses and some baubles. Merry Christmas and big love, Cindy. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Merry Christmas. I know here in Connecticut, it is going to rain and all the snow is going to go away, but that's okay. I am going to just embrace the holiday spirit. It'll be the first one that I'm not spending with my entire brood Christmas Eve. Even both of my children won't be under my roof, but I have a roof over my head, some decorations. I don't know if you can see them in my RV, and some champagne for mimosas in the morning. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Big love.